if you're here to get solid advice on how to deal with perfectionism, if you're here to get a succinct summary on all of the research, then you're in the wrong neighborhood. What I'm going to present is almost the exact opposite of well thought of advice. This is an experiment, and by watching this, you become a part of the experiment. I'm struggling with perfectionism. This video is part of my attempt to overcome it, by just working on a project I wanted to realize for years. I'll share what I've understood so far, and you get to share your thoughts on this. And you know what? Let me get back to you in a year or so with how well the coping mechanisms I'm trying out have worked out for me. Why I want to beat my perfectionism. I really want to be seen as a competent person, as someone who has things under control, as someone who knows what she's doing. A lot of my self-worth is actually attached to that. It feels very scary for me when I think that the perception of my competence is threatened. That's what makes it so hard for me to try new things. I've wanted to make videos for 5 years now, and I'm just getting started. So what was it exactly that held me back? Well, for one, I had unrealistically high standards, and everything short of perfection I deemed a failure. Interestingly, it was this exact mindset that set me up for failure. I would be super stressed out when I wanted to start a new project where I felt that I wasn't competent yet because it was so hard for me to live up to my own expectations. And that stress would lead to me procrastinating. It could be so bad that I wouldn't even start working on the project, which in turn led to me not doing it at all. This is actually how I set myself up for failure again and again. What am I doing to change? Well, doing something publicly that I'm not competent at yet. When I uploaded my first video, I didn't share it with my friends. I was afraid to be ridiculed. And also because I thought that my first video was kind of cringy, which I still kind of think it is. And then an accident happened. A friend of mine, let's call him D, got the link to my video. And he watched it. And I just started screaming internally when I learned of that. After some time, I calmed down and asked him, hey, so what do you think of that? Do you think it's cringy? And he was like, well, what are you talking about? You're clearly a beginner and there's a lot for you to learn. But what does that have to do with cringe? It's hardly cringy at all. To me, it was a very surprising experience that I wasn't beaten down when I published my videos. Which in hindsight doesn't make sense at all, like my friends aren't people who would do that. What I took away from that is that I shouldn't rely on my own opinion too strongly. I'm clearly biased, so maybe I shouldn't listen too closely to all of the anxious and negative voices in my head. It may sound counterintuitive, but getting only minimal feedback has helped me a lot. As mentioned before, I really like procrastinating when I feel that I'm not competent at something. Getting minimal feedback helps me with working on only the most pressing things. So what does this look like? Well, I ask my friends, what are the 2 things that bothered you most about this video? And then I will just work on those 2 things and I will ignore everything else. Another tool I'm trying to use is time boxing. That's also something that helps me keep my perfectionism at bay. If I know that I only have 30 minutes to finish a task, well, I can't focus on every single little tiny teeny detail. I have to confess that I am sometimes cheating, but mostly it works out. Right now, my cheat rate on time boxing is probably 50%, but I'm sure with time I'll get better at this. Another tool that I'm trying out right now is trying to redirect my perfectionism. I'm trying to trick my perfectionism by changing what I count as success. My perfectionism doesn't let go of me easily, so maybe I should try cooperating with it. And this is how I try to bargain with it. Okay, I know you're not going to like this, but how about this? Instead of creating one great video, we create low effort videos, but every week. And our goal will be to improve just one teeny tiny bit from one video to the next. As mentioned in the intro, I am definitely not there yet. I don't know yet what works well for me. If you have any good resources on dealing with perfectionism, or if you just want to share your experiences, please comment.